y'all, hey, and welcome to Drawing Conclusions with me, Christina B. Today our case is more so a call to action. We will be talking about a 23-year-old black woman found dead after a date with an older white man that she met on a dating site called Bumble. Let's discuss. Lauren Quinique Smith Fields was born January 23, 1998, making her an Aquarius. She was born and raised in Bridgeport, Connecticut, to her parents Chantel Fields and Everett Smith. She was a graduate of Stanford High School and was currently attending Norwalk Community College, where she planned on becoming a physical therapist. On December 12, 2021, authorities arrived at Lauren's apartment to find, quote, a young black female lying on her back on the floor who did not appear to be breathing. The older white man that Lauren had recently gone on her Bumble date with was the one who had called police to notify them that something was wrong. This man said he had only known Lauren for 3 days, and the first time at her apartment was that night before her death. According to an incident report, the date told police that the two allegedly spent the night drinking, eating, and watching a movie. At one point, the date says that Lauren went outside to meet with someone. She came back in, and eventually she began to feel ill. But the two still continued to drink and enjoy their evening. At some point after that, Lauren fell asleep, and the date says that he carried her to the bed, where he then laid down beside her and also went to sleep. Hours later, around 6:30 a.m., the date woke up where he found Lauren was not breathing and also was bleeding from the nose. He called 911, where they then came, assessed her, and pronounced her dead. Though he was the last person to be seen with Lauren alive, the police say that he is not considered a person of interest and they do not suspect foul play. Which, how much more suspicious could a death be? A 23-year-old girl, presumably healthy, found dead after her first night being spent with a man she met online, and she's bleeding from the nose. Seems quite sus to me. It's also said that one of the detectives spoke with her brother and told him that this man seemed like a nice guy that they shouldn't worry about. Is it because he's a white man? Because he seems pretty freaking suspicious to me. Initially, they wouldn't even release his name because he wasn't a person of interest. But since then, we've come to discover that this man is 37-year-old Matthew LaFontaine. He is a design engineer. The family said a detective told them that Lauren had been declared dead about a day and a half, over 36 hours before they were initially notified. Why would it take that long to notify her family when she was found in her apartment? And she hadn't been dead long enough to be decomposed or changed enough where they could not identify her. So the family has since retained a lawyer, Darnell Crosland, who says that the family plans to sue the Bridgeport Police Department. In their lawsuit, the family alleges that the Bridgeport Police Department failed to implement the proper crime scene investigation team to collect physical evidence, and the city has failed to intervene. The family also believes that race has played a huge role in the investigation and how they've handled it thus far. They claim that they weren't treated with respect at all and that the police were very racially insensitive when dealing with them and the case. The investigation is still ongoing, and investigators claim they are waiting for the results of a toxicology report. The family says that a detective told them that they needed to stop calling him for information. They also say that this detective has since been removed from the case, but how extra sus is that? Why won't you allow them to call and ask for information on their child who has been killed suspiciously? You should be looking for information. You should be eager to let them know what you found or what you're doing in order to get justice for this person. When asked where the police department went wrong, Crosland answered, when you find a young lady dead and there's a male involved, immediately they should be the person of interest. And they should have immediately connected his DNA. Which is so very true. Anytime that you find a woman dead in a domestic capacity, or just a woman dead, period, the first person they look for is a husband, a boyfriend, a date, a sneaky link, some male person or some romantic partner that is going to be the person of interest, because most times something like this, a 23-year-old woman being found dead like that, is most likely not going to be natural causes. Her family hasn't said that she has some kind of chronic illness or anything that would suggest this. So the first person you should be looking at is this man that she's known for less than 3 days that she met on the internet. Like, clearly, he should be the first person that you look into. Even if he didn't do anything, that's usually where it goes. You're the last person to see her alive, and you are the newest person in her life. Why was he not looked further into? Just because he seems like a nice guy? And we all know that the tables will turn, and this was a 23-year-old white woman with an older black man. He will be in jail right now under suspicion of murder. Not at home somewhere with his identity being hidden from the public for a period of time because he seems like a nice guy. He would be on his way to death row without there being even any evidence or an autopsy report. He would literally be halfway in a noose at this point in time. So yes, race most likely does play a huge role in this. A design engineered white man, clean cut. He looks like the all-American type, which we know was just the ideal white man, against a 23-year-old black girl. I mean, you could even tell that by the pictures that they posted of them on the news and things. Her in a bikini, always her scantily clad, while he's in suits and hiking gear and things of that nature. He's described as a design engineer, while she is the young bumble date. It just... But anywho, an incident report shows that police collected money and Lauren's passport, credit cards, and a cell phone from the scene. So why again would it take you 36 hours to notify her family? You collected her passport, her credit cards. To be sure, wherever her credit cards were, her ID was close by. Either way, that's 2 known pieces of information that have her name on them. And you weren't able to notify her parents until over 36 hours later? Suspicious. But the lawyer and family say that possible key evidence was not collected from the scene and wasn't even processed until over 2.5 weeks later. These pieces of evidence include the bloody sheet that she was found on. Like we said, her nose was bleeding whenever the date found her the next morning, and the sheet supposedly that she was laying on was covered in blood. That was not collected and processed correctly. There was also a used condom found at the scene, lubricant, and a pill that could not be identified at the scene. Now, if you remember, the date said that at some point in the night, Lauren began to feel ill. Could she have ingested some of these unidentified pills? Though he did say that she went outside to go talk to somebody and then came back in and felt ill after that. That could, of course, be a lie. He could have drugged her. You know what I'm saying? He could have sexually assaulted her. Many things could have happened here. She randomly falls asleep and he picks her up and takes her to the bed and lays down with her, though this is his first night at her apartment. To me, that's kind of weird. You're that comfortable in that short span of time where you're just going to lay down and sleep beside her without an invitation. Investigation needs to happen. Proper investigation needs to happen. Even though it's been a short amount of time since it's happened, the improper processing of evidence is going to be something that the defense can use in order to get this man off, if they even press charges. I mean, because there's no telling what they're going to say the toxicology report and the autopsy say, because it's not adding up at this point. Something's not right, and I feel like the first step in that is getting a proper investigation. So this video is a call to action. We need you to call the Bridgeport Police Department. We need you to call the District Attorney's Office and demand that they properly investigate. Demand that they look into this Matthew LaFontaine for the murder of Lauren Smith Fields. We need to press them. We need to keep the heat on them so they don't think that they can just get away with this young lady's death. I'm going to have the numbers up. I'm going to also have them linked down in my bio. I will be calling. I hope you call too. Please get the awareness out about this case so that her family her parents especially can get the justice and answers that they so deserve. So yeah, thank you so much for coming and spending a few minutes with me today. Please like, share, subscribe. Please call Bridgeport Police Department. Please call the District Attorney's Office. And let's get justice for Lauren. I love you. Be great. Be you. I'll see you soon.